What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer. Blizzard has once again released even more information about the upcoming Overwatch 2 Season 6 and all the new PvE content and story missions that'll be coming with it, this time going more in depth with specifically the pricing for the upcoming PvE modes, and more information regarding what exactly these events and game modes will entail. Also, we got an exciting sneak peek at the first PvE story mission, as outlined in a Gameinformer article from a journalist who actually got the opportunity to play this first mission. So I'll be delving into all the important information from that, as well as the official blog post just posted regarding Overwatch 2 Season 6 Invasion. Now, a lot of the information in this blog post is sort of a repeat of what we actually got yesterday in various articles following the trailer for Overwatch 2 Invasion, but one new point which is very important to focus on here specifically has to do with some of the missions in particular and the pricing for PvE. In Overwatch 2 Invasion, you and your friends can take on 3 action-packed missions that take place in Rio de Janeiro, Toronto, and Gothenburg, massive maps with complex objectives and an in-depth storyline that will guide you along the way. You'll fight against the intensified forces of Null Sector, who will continue to attack until you've completely dismantled them. Stay alert for challenging enemies that haven't been encountered before, such as the powerful artillery and the deadly stalkers. You can get started on your mission to save the world with the Overwatch 2 Invasion bundle for $15 USD. This bundle includes permanent access to Overwatch 2 Invasion story missions, 1,000 Overwatch coins, equal to the Premium Battle Pass, a $10 value, a brand new Sojourn Legendary skin, and permanent access to Sojourn as a playable hero for new players who haven't yet unlocked her. Additionally, the Overwatch 2 Invasion bundle is intended to give new and veteran players alike the opportunity to explore this brand new story arc while giving them additional coins to unlock the Premium Battle Pass or to buy cosmetic content for their favorite hero. You can also upgrade to the Overwatch 2 Ultimate Invasion bundle for $40 USD, and you will have access to all of the above as well as the Null Sector Premium Battle Pass with 20 Battle Pass skips, an additional 1,000 Overwatch coins for a total of 2,000 Overwatch coins, and 2 additional legendary skins being for Cassidy and Kiriko. Alright, let's talk about this. So, to get to play these first 3 PvE story missions that fit into the campaign, at a bare minimum, it will cost you $15. $15 to get permanent access, which means even after the season ends, you'll be able to keep playing them for presumably as long as you want until the servers get shut down, but that's hopefully far future, along with some coins, a new Sojourn skin, and Sojourn if you for some reason don't already have her. Now, admittedly, we've known since the reveal of Overwatch 2 way back in BlizzCon 2019 that PvE was going to cost money. They were never discreet about that. I mean, maybe they didn't bring it up every time, but yeah, they were upfront basically about the fact that they were intending to charge for the PvE, which I think is fair because it's a new game and new content in that regard. And $15 seems like a decent price, especially considering what all you get here, but really it's going to come down to the story missions we actually get to play. So for $15, we're going to get access to 3 story missions set in Rio de Janeiro, Toronto, and Gothenburg, and until we actually get to see what these missions look like and get to experience them for ourselves, I'm not really going to say whether or not $15 is a good value. If these missions are really fun and do have an element of replayability to them, then yeah, I think $15 is a great deal. But if the missions themselves feel sort of dull and you basically only play them once to get everything out of them, then yeah, I don't know, might not be that great of a deal. We'll just have to wait and see. As for the Ultimate bundle though, the $40 one, that seems to be the Fnatic bundle where it's spend a bunch of money to get all the goodies. Yeah, like the lower tier one, it entirely depends on the actual content. Are you willing to pay an extra $25 for 2 new legendary skins and a bunch of coins? And the Battle Pass, which also an interesting thing to note, they refer to the Battle Pass as the Null Sector Premium Battle Pass, which I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that means the theme, the official real theme and the type of skins we're going to end up seeing in the Season 6 Battle Pass will be Null Sector themed. That's what I'm deducing based off of how they've worded this, and it would certainly be fitting considering that this is the launch of the Null Sector PvE missions. So yeah, in terms of pricing and everything, yeah, we're going to really just have to wait and see. I'm not going to say yet whether or not this is a fair price for what we get, given that we haven't actually gotten a look yet, really, at what we're going to get. We've gotten a bunch of clips of cutscenes, some little tidbits of gameplay. I'm going to need to see more of the actual gameplay itself before I'm convinced that this is the right price for it. Moving on though, an all-new co-op event. In addition to story missions, you'll be able to take part in a new bonus co-op mission on King's Row. Explore all new areas of the King's Row map as you guide a well-armed TS1 pushbot on a mission to save Iggy and the rest of the Omnic Underground from Null Sector. You'll face new objectives along with new Null Sector enemies that may somehow feel familiar. There we go, we do finally get confirmation that the friend Tracer is trying to save in King's Row is in fact Iggy from the London Calling comic series. Nice to have that little tie-in reference there to one of these sort of side stories we've had for Overwatch. But unfortunately, we don't really get much more info regarding this co-op event. Is it a limited time thing? Will you be able to keep playing it after the season ends? What do you have to actually do to unlock it? Is it free for everybody? Is it tied to the battle pass? Is it part of the other missions you pay for with the $15? I don't know. They haven't really given us much info on this, which I actually find to be kind of strange considering that they've seemingly been pretty upfront with the other missions at this point, what I just covered and everything. So yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see there. There's then a little section that's talking about the new game mode Flashpoint, but it basically just reiterates the same information we got yesterday about the mode, so I won't bother reading through it. But then we do get new info regarding the Hero Mastery game mode. Finally, we're introducing a new way to play and practice with your favorite heroes with Hero Mastery mode. These engaging training courses are specifically designed for each select hero, testing your skills with their abilities. Hero Mastery will also feature global leaderboards to showcase the top performing hero masters across the world. Overwatch 2 Invasion will be launching the first courses for a selection of heroes, with more to come in future seasons. The practice range also gets its first major update this season, with a brand new firing range to hone your aim with any hero, including dozens of practice settings and multiple targets to choose from. Alright, well, that's a little disappointing to hear that this first Hero Mastery mission mode wave is only going to be for select heroes. I'm curious just how select it's going to be. Are we talking about 20 heroes get courses, or is it 5 heroes that get courses? Again, they didn't give us a ton of information here, so we're just going to have to hope that your favorite hero gets a Hero Mastery course in this first wave. Otherwise, you'll have to wait, and I don't know, maybe it'll come someday. The last major thing I'd like to focus on here in this article, though, there's a lot more coming when Overwatch 2 Invasion launches on August 10th. We'll be showing gameplay for much of this new content later this summer, including during the Overwatch 2 Invasion reveal livestream on June 21st. Follow us at @PlayOverwatch on Twitter for more updates. Don't forget to keep an eye out for updates on our newest hero, too, which we'll shine more light on in the future. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hazard a guess that them saying we'll shine more light on this new hero in the future is further evidence that this upcoming Peruvian support hero has some sort of light-based mechanics or abilities. That was already sort of hinted at with the little teaser image we got of her at the very end of the Invasion trailer, and the wording here absolutely seems to reiterate that point. So another detail we have there, she seems to be light-based in terms of her abilities. Again, we'll have to wait and see to learn more. Now, before I wrap up this video, there was a corresponding article published by Gameinformer, which goes into a bit more information regarding the PvE missions specifically. In particular, they evidently got to go to Blizzard HQ and playtest the first of the 3 missions we'll get to experience, being the one set in Toronto, and they outlined their experience of playing it here in this article. So I won't read through the entirety of this article because it's pretty long and covers a lot of the same information I just covered from the official blog post, but I did want to focus on the specific telling of this first Toronto mission, outlining the details of it. And I will mention ahead of time, spoilers, this does seem to spoil the events of this first mission. There's not a whole ton to be spoiled here, to be honest, but in case you're super particular about that, maybe skip ahead to the end or cut off the video here. Up to you, but you have been warned. Alright, as written by the Gameinformer journalist, my hands-on session takes me to Toronto. This mission begins with a previously on segment consisting of cutscenes and animations from various various previously released videos and stills in the Overwatch lore. Toronto is the middle part of this first story mission arc, so I appreciated getting caught up on the story. This upcoming release delivers 8 new cinematics and a seemingly innumerable amount of voice lines. The PvE release will bring players to the largest maps Overwatch has ever seen. As I load into the mode, I arrive at a computer terminal. This communication screen allows me to dive deeper into Overwatch lore with dedicated pages of emails and communications from other members of the team, or even look around at photographs on the desk to trigger voice lines. Once I'm ready for the mission, I can initiate it from that same computer terminal. Real quick note I'd like to make here, this does seem to be like the sort of like pre-mission menu or like sort of like hangout area. Interesting to hear that there is actually one of those and it isn't just like a 2D menu you select missions from, but rather it's a little like room or area or desktop, I guess, where you get to sort of interact with things. I think that's pretty neat from how they've described it here. These story missions always consist of other human players, whether match-made or through your squad. The developers tell me that if a player drops, a bot may take over in the interim, but there's no current way to play alongside a team of bots. With my squad full of Overwatch developers, I feel pretty confident, so we choose hard difficulty, which despite its name is only the second highest difficulty level. When you go into a mission, you can select normal, hard, expert, or legendary. With that out of the way, we start the mission. Now again, I'd like to jump in real quick here. I do think this is a bit disappointing to hear that there's no way to sort of single player these missions at the time being. Even if there's a bot that'll fill in for someone who drops out, you can't select to play it solo and just have bots be your other teammates. It's gonna be like Archives, it sounds, in that you're forced to play with other human players, either people in your group that you're friends with, or just people you randomly get matched with. Which, you know, isn't really unexpected, I guess, but a little disappointing. I think it would be nice if they had a proper single player mode where you could just have bots fill in for the other humans. The opening cinematic shines a light on what's going on in Toronto. Null Sector is attacking humans and grabbing Omnics who haven't gone rogue. Null Sector makes this point very clear. Humans have treated Omnics like servants for far too long, and it's time to liberate them. Null Sector ambushes a nearby group of humans and Omnics, but thankfully, Sojourn shows up just in time to spring into action and save the day. Shortly thereafter, Cassidy, Reinhardt, and various other members of Overwatch emerge from the shadows, led by none other than Winston. At the character select screen, we're limited to the characters who make sense for this particular mission. In this case, it's the team members who were in the cutscene, which encompasses the heroes of Overwatch. However, it's not that simple, as characters like Torbjorn, Soldier 76, and Zenyatta aren't around at this point in time. I choose Cassidy, and meanwhile my teammates choose Mercy, Winston, and the mission required Sojourn. The narrative plays out through the missions and the accompanying cutscenes, but based on which characters are selected by the team, you'll hear different interactions and pick up unique story bits. Our mission in Toronto is to evacuate the humans and Omnics out of the city. As soon as we get out of the spawn room, we begin fighting off waves of Null Sector grunts to protect the evac ship. These basic enemies are easy enough to pick off, but one part I didn't expect was for them to be destructible. Just when I thought I had bested one by blowing its head clean off with Cassidy's pistol, it continued charging towards me. With another, I blow away its legs, but it keeps crawling on the ground in my direction. I finish them off again in short order as a wave of Omnics stream into the ship. Jumping in again, I am glad to see that the sort of like interesting enemy mechanics and interactions like this haven't been cut, since this is something we saw all the way back at BlizzCon Line. They were showing the different elements of the different characters and the different enemies, how you could destroy certain components of them to make the enemies behave differently, like blowing off arms or legs, and I'm glad to hear that that aspect of the PvE has seemingly been retained in the PvE missions we'll actually be getting. We pause the evacuation to fend off more Null Sector grunts, but this time they're accompanied by artillery bots. These enemies have giant mounted blasters that can deal heavy damage from far away. Like the grunts, they're destructible, so we target the massive guns. With their ability to deal most of their damage taken away, they don't pack quite the same punch as they did just moments before. We survive the wave and more Omnics flood into the ship. We repeat this cycle with the waves of enemies increasingly targeting the ship, with dog-like robots whose sole purpose is to damage the ship. We keep defending it, keeping an eye on the ship's health, and thankfully we thwart the Null Sector attack and the ship escapes. From there, we continue through the downtown area. As with most games, clearly defined combat arenas give you hints that enemies will be arriving soon, soon, but you'll also fight some random null sector bots en route to them. The next big encounter introduces a new menace to the Overwatch crew, Stalkers. These mean bots pull enemy players in with a gravity beam and unleash hell on them. Stalkers are among the most dangerous enemies we encountered in our playthrough of the mission, as someone getting pulled in by one often led to them being downed and in need of revival. It's best to keep them at a distance. Quick note, this is an enemy type which we actually saw again at BlizzConline, and while we don't have any images of what these final Stalker versions look like, this at least was a previous version of them, so just for a bit of reference, in case you're not familiar with all the various null sector units. As we continue through, we meet up with Claire, an Omnic trying to help Overwatch in its mission. As we work through the powered down underground metro, we encounter our next enemy type, the Subjugator. These floating null sector robots will largely ignore the player characters in favor of going after the friendly Omnics. If they latch on, they attach a metal clamp to their head, disabling them. We see this happen to one unfortunate Omnic during a cutscene, and it's clear it's not a good thing. Throughout the remainder of the mission, we must fend off massive groups of grunts, subjugators, artillery, and stalkers while learning more about the lead of Null Sector. Could a face-off against Ramatra be in the near future? One combat sequence even includes an elite version of the Grunt, which packs an extra punch and requires more damage to take down. This battle in particular almost does us in when stalkers down both Mercy and Winston, but by working with the Sojourn on our team, we can survive. We get to the final area of the mission, an all-out push to an evac ship of our own in the middle of a park. The numbers standing against us are overwhelming. Null Sector really wants to keep Overwatch and Claire from getting away. At one point, I turn the corner to come face to face with 3 artilleries. I do Cassidy's ultimate to deal a good amount of damage, but my Blizzard teammates know better than me, and they tell me to get on the evac ship. I do just that, and the mission comes to an exciting end. As we watch the end of mission cutscene, Cassidy says Winston should give up on finding Soldier 76, as Jack is too busy chasing ghosts. Genji decides it might be a good idea to recruit Zenyatta as he heads off in that direction. Meanwhile, the rest of the team heads off to Torbjorn in hopes that he will have some way to remove the Omnic head clamps the subjugators install. Though I only played one mission, it was a chunky piece of gameplay. Without taking into account the cutscenes, our playthrough of this Toronto mission lasted 31 minutes. I was pleasantly surprised by not only how massive the map is, but also by how diverse the battles felt. Not only that, but you're given the added bonus of receiving Battle Pass progress for your effort. So there you go, that was their telling of their experience getting to play through the Toronto mission. I do find it interesting that from what we can tell, this is just literally the Toronto mission that Blizzard has been showing us since at least BlizzConline, with all the footage they showed off back there of Null Sector in Toronto and the evac ship and everything. So presumably this is a mission which Blizzard has had in development in some form or another for quite a while. And while I think the description here of this specific mission certainly sounds intriguing and something I definitely like to play, again, it will come down to actually playing it myself and seeing how it feels. It sounds exciting, but until we get a better look at the actual gameplay itself, I'm still going to be a bit skeptical. Again, the PvE content for Overwatch 2 could end up being phenomenally great, and hopefully we will be learning more about it in the upcoming live stream for the Overwatch 2 PvE on June 21st, but for the time being, I am cautiously excited, I should say. And on that note, I'd love to hear your thoughts on all this in the comments down below. What do you think about the price of Overwatch 2 as outlined in the blog post released by Blizzard, and are you excited for the PvE missions? Did the details described in the Toronto mission intrigue you and sound like something you'd like to play? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, real quick, I'd like to mention, if you're watching this video before the start of Overwatch 2 Season 5, be sure to tune in for my live stream of the brand new season, which will be kicking off as soon as the season starts tomorrow, or today, or yesterday, depending on when you watch this. And otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, hit up that bell icon, and come join my Discord server to hang out and never miss any of my future Overwatch content. Special thanks to my YouTube channel members who help make these videos possible. And if you'd like to join them to earn some cool rewards, then just hit that join button down below. Otherwise, this is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.